congratulations on your second album, which we're going to be able to hear in November.
Thank you.
What a ride. I mean, it seems like it was not that long ago when Thus Love became a band, and all of a sudden things have been going so fast. I mean, have you had time to make sense of everything that's happening?
Barely.
Yeah, barely. I mean, things are happening really quickly. It's been feeling really nice, but a lot of things in our personal lives like really haven't changed that much. So that also feels kind of nice.
So I want to hear a little bit about Vermont. I mean, how does a band residing in Vermont end up sounding like some of the best British music that was made in the early 80s?
I think we're trying to figure that out too.
Yeah.
This is like, something we're thinking about too. We're like, it feels like a miracle. I think also, we were just like, that's just how it came out. I don't think there's like any one thing that we did. It was like, that's just how it came out.
Right. Right. Like, I think, to nitpick aspects that maybe like make it feel that way for listeners is like, I used a chorus pedal effect on my guitar for that record because I thought it sounded cool. And everybody's like, oh yeah, The Cure, like all these other bands, right? And I'm like,
that sounds familiar.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, sure.
So it's not like you were super fans of all those British bands like, Echo and the Bunnymen, The Cure.
I mean, it's like we are fans of that music, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I love The Clash. Like, that's definitely one of my favorite bands ever. But I don't think like we were really trying to specifically sound like anything from that time.
Yeah. I mean, even your name, Echo, it kind of just, I couldn't help but find the similarities. And there's something about your voice that reminded me of Ian McCulloch as well, the Deliverance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like it's just a coincidence. Yeah.
It's the coincidence of a lifetime.
Honestly. Yeah. And like, again, we love all the bands that we're compared to.
Yeah. And tell me a little bit about, oh, sorry.
Yeah. Please continue.
Tell me a little bit about Brattleboro, your hometown, where you're. Are you still residing in Vermont?
Yeah. We're here right now.
So I hear that there was a really nice artistic community which you were part of. Is that so?
Yeah,
it's small but vibrant. Yeah, and definitely like prior to COVID, when we were starting, there were several really amazing bands that we were kind of like cultivating ourselves around a lot, and there were definitely more local shows at that point, and things have maybe slowed down a little
for sure
post COVID, but yeah, we still have a small yet vibrant community of freaky artists here.
Yeah,
definitely.
The beautiful thing about Brattleboro, there's like an artistic like resurgence, like every, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years. I feel like probably like every decade or so to be safe,
Yeah.
There are like periods of time where it's like super quiet, and then there are like periods of time where it's like everything's happening and like everything is so sick, and like some of the sickest bands have like come out of here that are like so underrated. But yeah, it's like it's such a special place, I think,
Yeah, because as when you're starting
but I'm
out
biased, so I don't know.
I
am biased. That's all I'm gonna say.
Because one of the important things about forming a band is having places to play. So was Brattleboro and surrounding areas really? Does it have a healthy network of venues and places where you can bust your chops?
I think anyone from New York would say no, but yes. Absolutely. Like we played all of our first shows to 35 people or less, obviously, but those are still major events to people here. You know what I mean? Like that's not like by any means a dead show or not worth it or like, oh, fell short or something. It's like 35 people. Damn, people really showed up like in White River Junction or somewhere. Like,
yeah, totally. Yeah. I will say too, like as a regional band, just like starting out, just kind of like going backwards in time, like our first like 2 or 3 years. I feel like Brattleboro, it's 2 hours from everything. You know, you're 2 hours from Boston, you're 2 hours from Albany. You know, there's Northampton, Mass. There's like the Western Mass music scene, which is like a whole separate beast.
You're
It's
equal. You're
amazing.
almost equal distant from New York. Is from also to Montreal. Like Montreal and New
Exactly,
York are
too.
almost the same distance.
Yeah,
Maybe in the
so
middle
it's
of the
like-
state, it's like an hour difference. But
4 hours south, you're in New York. 4 hours north, you're in Montreal. 2 hours north, you're in Burlington. There's
Right.
Portland, Maine. It's like you're in the middle of like all of these really amazing cities.
yeah, it's like juncture of New
So
England.
like if you're first starting out, like planning a tour, like can be accessible, which is awesome. And
Yeah.
like that's what we did a lot. Like we played Boston, we went to Montreal, like
regional tours.
we did
bouncing
like
around.
Albany, Troy. We did New York a lot. Bouncing around. It's extremely helpful too.
Yeah, yeah, and also I imagine the rent is way cheaper than Brooklyn or all the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally. Yeah.
which is funny
Yeah.
because we still struggle to pay our rent.
Yeah.
but
We still struggle to pay our rent,
Yeah.
but
You're
Yeah,
artists.
also been here longer.
Artists are supposed to suffer for art.
that's right. Ain't that the way?
absolutely.
You
We're
got to do the side.
suffering, all right.
Exactly. If you want to make real money, you got to create a vodka line or a clothing brand. One of those.
Yeah, right. Thus love.
Let's make tequila or something crazy.
Exactly.
Thus love. Brown
Yeah.
label.
Yeah.
Um,
Awesome.
well, speaking of, obviously, I don't want to be too insistent on the British influence, but I imagine, what was it like touring the United Kingdom with one of the most English bands in the world, which is Dry Cleaning?
Incredible.
Amazing.
Amazing. I
Wow.
mean, to our benefit, we sound like that because everyone in the crowd really loved us as an opening band, as a support band for that tour. We formed a really lovely relationship with Dry Cleaning too, like the band itself. And, we didn't really tour Memorial kind of overtly in the States. We did a couple of regional tours and it was awesome, but for some reason we didn't really do it. So it's like where we felt like we did, like it felt like the album post-release happened out there in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't tour the first record here at all. Like maybe a couple weeks, but that's
Collectively.
Yeah.
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 I mean, because the United Kingdom has been so fundamental for making bands, even bands from the US. Obviously, we think of the Strokes as a prime example of a band that no one was paying attention to back home, and all of a sudden England and the enemy blew up into the stratosphere, and they always had that thing. And I get the feeling, when I first heard you, I'm like, oh, this band is totally from Manchester or something.
Wow.
So I imagine that the English or the British audience getting you also helps the American music fans maybe wake up a little. Have you noticed that? If that's starting to happen now, are the North American audiences finally tuning into what Thus Love is all about?
We'll see, because we haven't gone on tour yet, but we are going to go on tour in January. So we'll freaking see. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But you're so right. That's so funny because like a couple weeks ago, I was like on Facebook, which is dumb. I hate Facebook. But like I saw this post. It was like, Thus Love from Ireland. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
No, it was who was it? It was like a pretty big publication.
Yeah, it was like
Just kind of like tweeting.
it was like Rough Trade or something.
It was Rough Trade Europe.
Yes.
And it's so funny because like our album is Rough Trade Album of the Month for November. So like we have this connection to kind of that whatever organization for that label, and they like shared our new single. It was like
So crazy.
Ireland's Thus Love music is
Like we'll freaking take that.
like,
That's
all right,
crazy.
yeah, sure, great.
Take it, just take it. Nothing bad. How do you handle the touring aspect of a band's operations? I mean, especially having toured UK and Europe and stuff, you're heading out on an incredible tour starting next month, all over the US and then eventually all over Europe. Have you learned from previous mistakes on how to make touring stress-free and a pleasurable affair?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
There's a lot.
absolutely. Yeah, a lot of trial and error.
playing
but-
cards. Cards
Yeah.
is a good one. Like really, just like utilizing the time that you have and cultivating a space cultivating a space in the times where you're just kind of waiting
Mm-hmm.
and like allowing your nervous system to access those moments as like granted productive moments of any regular day, and
Mm-hmm.
to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this fun pastime, or like, you know what, I'm actually gonna like do this project right now because we're just sitting around.
Yeah.
Or like in previous
for sure.
tours, certainly I've been like, we're playing a gig, or we're doing an interview or whatever, and I'm just like not really doing anything else,
Mm-hmm.
traveling, waiting around for things, and it's important to keep your brain sharp and active, and
Mm-hmm.
and doing stuff outside of just like the daily motions.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, also just like really figuring out how to like ask for what you need, you know, because like there are so many different teams of people that are like there to like make this shit happen, and I feel like that took me kind of a long time
It's
to
like
like
access
to like to like access that and like recognize that. It's like, right, oh yeah, like, you know, we are performing, like we are kind of like providing that thing, and like I really need something, you know what I mean, and like I should be able to like get that, like if we need to eat something, we need to like say that. If we, you know,
Yeah.
need something to drink, we need to say that.
Yeah, like even
Yeah.
just basic needs,
And
can
like,
be
yeah,
easy to
just like
overlook.
basic needs, and like that's okay, you know, like that's cool. I just like, you know, I've been the person for my whole life like serving other people, you know, so like that's just like ingrained in me, you know. It's just like, no, like I need to be the one making everybody's life easier, but no, it's like, you know, I need some help too, you need some
Yeah.
help too, we all need some help too. So it's good, you know. Everyone, like especially on these like bigger shows, I like will add to just like really seeing like the full team of people like coming together to just like make all this shit happen is like really, really nice.
Yeah.
It's a marvel. It's a marvel to witness.
Yeah. I read this thing that Enemy, the New Musical Express, how they described you. They were like, Vermont punks making urgent community-driven anthems for outsiders. Did you feel outsiders when you were back in high school, for instance? And did that drive a lot of what you do today?
Oh, for sure.
L-
Oh,
Lou-
dude, I
Lou
was
and I
so
really-
bullied. Are you
yeah.
kidding me?
We were like
I was
really
so
hard.
bullied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We both had
I don't know. I'm gonna stop yelling.
in different ways, like tough times in school.
Mhm.
Yeah, we were bullied. I bounced around schools so much.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
kicked out of one.
Mhm.
Yeah, like dealing with poverty in like community perception.
Yeah,
because,
just like both being so broke.
a lot
like,
of
just
areas in
so-
Vermont are
Oh,
like
God.
pretty well off neoliberal families, you know,
Mhm.
like post back to the land movement, and they all got their fucking Prius and their fucking co-op, and their, you know, they have all got their like brand of granola they like, and then anything that disrupts their status quo is like weird, and like, you know, they present as so down to earth, but yet they still project like pretty awful things towards like impoverished and like marginalized communities in this area. You know, obviously much more like brown and black people in this area, they have much harder time, but like, you know, just kind of like throughout our whole lives being confronted with people who like just, you know, for your income bracket don't see you maybe as complete human beings, which is crazy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but obviously like a very common experience.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
it's
yes,
also
yeah.
wild too. I feel like the like, you know, we're like a local band. This is a very small town. Like when we start getting success, like people see that like really easily. So it's like funny. Like I feel like the more fame we get, the more like recognized we are like by these like rich like yuppie people.
Right. Who, if
And
we were
it's so funny because it's like, okay, 5 years ago when I'm like, you know, like washing your dish in the restaurant that I still work at, it's like you wouldn't even give me the time of day. But like now, because I'm in the newspaper or like whatever, you're like,
Hey.
oh my God, how's everything going? Like you're so great. Like it's like, okay, you don't it's like, it's just like funny to recognize that. It's funny.
how about just give me money?
Yeah.
Oh, you like me now?
How about
Give me
open
money.
your wallet and give me like $1,000 so we can like I don't know, fix our van. That's
Yeah.
been, you know, so we
Or at least
can
buy my album, you know.
Yeah, no,
that's-
buy the
like,
album.
I will say just on that note, like no matter who our support fan base, whatever. Like, we are eternally grateful for anyone who likes our music, who wants us to support us, like, socially, emotionally, in whatever capacity, financially too. That's great. But
totally.
yeah, there is like a funny narrative that Lou and I share in this area, and it's kind of statewide.
Yeah, it's fine. I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Hamilton Lighthouser from the Walkmen. I interviewed him, and he said that he had a tour drummer. He was booked to go on one of those like Stephen Colbert or Saturday Night Live, one of those national TV shows where they have a band performing. And the drummer was like, dude, can I do that show? Because then my family will finally respect that I am a musician.
Whoa!
And lo and behold, that happened. He played on the show.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone saw him. And he's like, see, Mom, this is real.
Yeah.
So wild. Yeah.
It's fucked. Anyone has to prove their like validity of humanity. Like, it's crazy. I don't know. We're just regular broke people.
I know. And we're still just as broke, if not more broke now.
Yeah.
So
Being in this band, doing everything to make it happen, basically like sacrificing all of our resources at all times to have the band progress.
Yeah.
It's
awesome.
But anyways,
I love it.
Back to your question. We had some relatively rough times in our youth, but not as bad as most.
Yeah.
And as I said, congratulations, because you're about to release a second album, and tour the whole world. I'm a little bit disappointed that I've looked at your European schedule and you're playing all over Europe, but you're not playing Spain or Portugal.
It is such a shame. I know. Like, it sucks.
We want to just stay out there.
We just want to stay there.
Yeah, really. Like, we just weren't, like, to be totally frank with you, we're just not getting offers.
Huh.
Like, just not getting offers. Well, like, maybe getting offers, but like the date didn't work, the availability didn't work. Like, we would have to stay there extra time, or like fill out some space that we couldn't do. And obviously, especially on tour, time is money.
Absolutely.
But I mean, we have been meaning to go to like a lot of these places for a long time. Like, I'm really excited to visit Copenhagen. That will be really cool. Like, obviously unrelated, but like, yeah, it's cool. I feel like every time we go out, we get to like see something new, which is crazy. So I'm grateful to do that anywhere, but Spain is so on our list of dream places.
It will happen. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It will. I mean, you are coded to play Spain somehow or the other.
I think like Spain, Japan, and Australia.
Yeah.
It was very.
Seeing like Berlin, Germany was on our list, and we are getting to do that on this tour. That's really cool. Really excited about that.
I have to say, like, Memorial is such a triumph of a debut album. I mean, it's all killer, no filler. Was there anything that you personally as artists wanted to improve on album number 2?
I think like first off, we were just like, cool, let's make it sound better. Like, whatever that means to us. And I think it like really doesn't matter what that means. But like me personally, I was just like, oh yeah, I want the guitars to sound different. Like, I was going for like, and even a band instrumentally as a whole, like each thing being, for lack of a much better, less stupid term, like pure tone, right? Like just guitar amp. I think I had like one overdrive pedal on at times and like a fuzz for solos. But just kind of like letting the amp speak. Same with the drums, like natural, kind of as natural drum sound as possible, and like giving those instruments more space so that they in turn kind of take up more space or appear to be almost louder in the mix because of that. Anything else?
I mean, I think we spent a lot of time on the first record, like trying to make the instruments sound
Like,
not
okay.
not like the instruments.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Oh,
Like,
true,
I
yes.
feel like the guitar is like, yes, it's a guitar, but
But it
like,
doesn't
but it
sound
like
like
doesn't sound like a guitar, which is fucking awesome, which is fine. But like now,
True,
you know,
we were
it's a lot cleaner of a tone.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
room sound.
With the drums, we were like took the stems of the drums in Memorial, and we told our engineer, we were like, you know, make him really crispy. Like, okay, he was like,
what does that
tearing them apart digitally and just like doing all these weird things, and then like
we're like
adding-
20,
we're
and
like,
we're just like, just make it sound
more reverb,
crispy.
like more reverb, and he ended up reamping the whole drum set through a speaker with like in a room with like a 25-foot ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And then like playing that back to itself, so the reverb tail would just be like preposterously long, and then like makes it, I don't know, just all these random things that were just like for fun. Maybe partially because of our limit to equipment, like really like the one mic we used and everything was a 57. I think we had like two more. We had like a 58 on the kick drum. And
I'm gonna get my laptop charger.
Yeah. One crappy cardioid microphone as a mono overhead. 3 mics on the drums. That was it. So we were like, let's do as much as possible to them sonically in post-production to just like have fun with it, right? Like, you know, just like make it sound good, right? We were just like to our own taste, like what we felt was good at the time. And now we're much more comfortable in like a recording setting. We're much more comfortable with our instruments. We're much more comfortable with like writing songs and workshopping together. So I think like we were able to kind of get out of this like newbie tunnel vision that was like, no, like, you know, a guitar can sound like a guitar. Like that's okay. Like
It's okay for the guitar to sound like a guitar.
It's okay for the drums to be regular.
Yeah, nothing needs to sound like a power drill.
Right, just like letting the songs be songs and like letting them speak for themselves, and also being like, okay, like that is, you know, just having 4 instruments and vocals like is an incredibly complex array of options, you know.
Yeah. Do you plan on continuing being inventive in the studio? Do you enjoy that part of like messing with things and all of a sudden not sounding nothing like your previous album or something?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's the best part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Creating, exactly. Tell me about all pleasure as the concept. A question I would say is, do you think a life of constant hedonism would be an option, a good way to live?
I think that like living authentically is maybe the first step. Like whatever that means to you, right? Like just like being honest with yourself about anything, let alone arts, like very, very important. And I definitely like, so I have some, this is pretty tangential, but I have some dietary restrictions because of like previous health issues. And like sometimes, yeah, I don't eat bread. Like I don't eat gluten. I don't eat sugar. I don't drink. And sometimes it's more important for me to emotionally feel maybe like on a certain night, like emotionally connected with other people. I'm having a really hard time and I just need something that will like kind of make me feel emotionally well. And so I'm like, you know, kind of like metaphorically, if you need to just eat a fucking cookie right now or like eat a slice of that cake, like do it. If it's going to make you feel good, like Lou says this to me all the time, like if it's something that's going to make you feel good, like just do it. And then the long game is like doing it in a way that is maybe like more beneficial or healthier or whatever. And just like focusing on that as a long game. But like, you know, you're always going to have times where like shit is hard and not fun. There are times when you're in a band and on tour and it's not fun. But I think holding in yourself like gratitude and and patience with things, and just knowing that like that whatever joy that you're seeking is the goal, and knowing that's a goal and holding that like in tandem, compartmentalized with these other things. Like, you know, we're all human, right? We're all on Instagram, right? We all feel guilty about it. We all know it makes us feel like shit, right? We're all subject to our environment, right? And like you know, like there's nothing worse than like somebody who like used to smoke or something and shames another person who is still like in the thralls of addiction, or like you know, I don't know, that's a weird example, but
no, that makes perfect
when I
sense.
get to mind, it's like, you know, it's like I went a year without Instagram. That was fantastic. I felt so fucking good. And you know, people were like, oh wow, yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ever like, you know, blame or judge somebody else who like couldn't or didn't want to do that. Like,
Totally. I think also just like maybe having the conversation with yourself maybe like more frequently, of just like, what am I doing this for? You know, if you're doing anything to like, you know, I don't know, like seek some level of attention or whatever, like that's cool sometimes, but you know, it can really like wear on you. I think that kind of like leads you down this path maybe of like inauthenticity. If you're like only doing it for money, you know, if you're doing it for, I don't know, clout or whatever, you know, some of that can be cool, some of that sucks, but you know, it just feels bad. But yeah, just like checking in, you know, am I making art for these reasons? Am I making art for these reasons? How's it feeling in my body? Bad? Uh-oh. I don't know.
yeah, and you know, it's a funny one, because like I, you know, I definitely am kind of like, yeah, fuck it, sex, drugs, rock and roll, like feel good, you know.
Totally.
This world is a fucked up, twisted place. Like, you know, do something that feels good. And you know, at the same time, like self-care is beautiful. Like if you're in a place in your life where you're able to kind of like, yeah, focus on these like long game self-care pleasures and like, you know, more fulfilling things, like great on you, you know. Instagram's cool too. Like we got to be connected with people somehow. We got to be connected with ourselves and our own voice somehow. And if that's like through the reflection of other people on social media, then great. Just, you know, don't stay up too late.
I know. I've yeah, Instagram. I still haven't had the chance to listen to the whole album from the label. That's my bad.
Yeah, all good.
I know, but I can assure you that your debut has been on repeat on my house for a long time.
Thanks.
It really is one of my favorite records from the last year's Memorial. What is there a cohesive theme to All Pleasure?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like, you know, sometimes you feel like, oh yeah, this is a collection of songs written by the same people. Like, of course they're interconnected, and sometimes you can be like, wow, none of these songs are the same. Like, is this going to be cohesive? And I think the main thing that really does it, that maybe like people who aren't like doing this for a living, or like doing this as a passion, or like understand like engineering or production at all, like a lot of that, like the cohesion comes from the fact that it's played by the same people and is recorded the same way. Like you know, like you could record you know, Birthday Song or All Pleasure like really differently, and then it would stand out. Or like you literally got somebody else to play bass and drums, and it would sound totally fucking different. So I think really like the cohesion is that like we're doing it together, we recorded them together, they sound that way. I think you could draw some connective tissue with the themes of the record, but you know, also like song ideas, they come at random. Like I keep saying, like, when people ask about like creative process, it's like you are just opening yourself up to the aurora of the divine, right? Like you are just allowing yourself the openness to be the conduit of some crazy fucking idea. And like, yes, you had it, also you didn't. And like, it's just like this weird flow state thing that just happens. And sometimes songs like regurgitate in one go and it's just all there and done. Like there were 2 songs on the record that came out that way that were really just like simple concept, basic idea, laid it out. Wow, that is complete. Like I don't hear anything missing from that, which is cool. But definitely like there is a slight shift from Memorial being a very introspective record to being slightly more kind of like looking out, right? Like you know, there's definitely some major introspection always, like especially as the lyricist in the band. I definitely like, you know, I'm projecting my own life experiences lyrically, and but yeah, there's definitely some tracks on there that are a lot less introspective, maybe, which is nice, refreshing in a way.
Well, I can't wait to hear the whole thing. I mean, I'm loving all the singles that have been coming out until now. So it's been such a pleasure connecting with you. And
Yeah, same.
Thank you.
I'm gonna light the candles and so that you know you end up playing Spain sooner or later. But I mean,
Yeah.
where we are and the rest of Spain, you'd love it. Thank you so much, Eka
Thank
and
you
Lou.
so much.
Thank
This
you
was
so much.
a pleasure.
Yeah.
A pleasure.
And
Yeah.
you had the most beautiful light coming in, hitting your.
Oh,
your
yeah.
Oh yeah, there's like a
Yeah.
little like crystal in the window.
Yeah.
And yeah. So
Yeah, and you know, it was hitting your face, and there was this like kind of rainbow effect. Look, you see on your face now.
Yeah,
Lou?
yeah.
If you go a bit forward, if you come closer to the screen, there it is. See
Ah!
it? You know, you got this like what do you call it when the rainbow color is through glass? Prism. Yeah. Super. Well, have a great day, and
You too.
I wish you the best on this incredible tour that you have. And as I say, the candle will be lit for you to
Yes.
come to Barcelona.
Thank you so much.
Shall we have it soon?
Yeah, whenever we come, let's grab a drink.
Yeah.
That would be
Oh, yeah,
so
sure.
fun.
I'll
yeah,
I'll
cool.
let you know.
Sweet.
Okay.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Have a nice day.
All right. Thank
Bye.
you so much.
Bye.